Hello everyone. Let's review the international hot news in August. US imposing 50% tariffs on Indian goods. Effective midnight on August 27th, the United States will impose a 50% tariff on Indian goods. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security announced in a notice on the 25th that the tariffs would apply to all Indian products declared imported for consumption or withdrawn from bonded warehouses for consumption. Indian media reported that this measure is part of a broader crackdown by the United States on countries that maintain trade relations with Russia. US and EU officially released final details of Trade Framework Agreement. On August 21st, the United States and the European Union officially released the final details of their Trade Framework Agreement. The United States will impose a 15% tariff cap on most EU imports, replacing the previous higher rate. The EU, in turn, made significant concessions and commitments in the agreement, including eliminating all tariffs on US manufactured goods, providing more relaxed market access for US agricultural and fishery products, and agreeing to increase purchases and investment in the United States. However, differences between the two sides remain unresolved on issues such as alcohol, steel and aluminum, and digital market regulation. Canada announced the removal of several retaliatory tariffs on US goods. On August 22nd, local time, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney announced at a press conference in Ottawa that Canada has decided to remove several retaliatory tariffs on US goods, but tariffs on US autos, steel, and aluminum will remain in place for now. Federal Reserve Chairman Powell hinted at a possible interest rate cut. On August 22nd, local time, at the Jackson Hole Global Central Bank annual meeting, Federal Reserve Chairman Powell stated that the current situation suggests downside risks to job growth, and a shift in the balance of risks may require policy adjustments. Powell noted that the U.S. economy remains resilient despite high tariffs and tightening immigration policies, but the labor market and economic growth have slowed significantly. In his speech, Powell hinted that despite the current upward risks to inflation, the Fed may still cut interest rates in the coming months. The 12th China-Japan ROK Cooperation Dialogue was held. On August 22nd, the 12th China-Japan ROK Cooperation Dialogue, hosted by the Japan Foundation for International Economic Exchange, the China Institute for Reform and Development, and the East Asia Foundation, was held in Tokyo, Japan. Professor Chi Fuling, president of the China, Hainan Institute for Reform and Development, proposed at the meeting that the China-Japan ROK Free Trade Agreement is the best option to adapt to the trend of regional economic integration, promote RCEP regional cooperation, and adapt to actual needs. For more new information, follow us to stay informed. See you next time.